Thank you. Thank you for confirming. Before proceeding further, students, I wanted to know that whatever we have discussed yesterday, was that clear to you? Was that clear to you? Good. Only one student is attending the class, I think. Only one student is attending the session. No one else is responding. Good. Let's proceed. Before proceeding further, let's take a quick recap of what we have discussed yesterday. Student, in the day one, we have discussed about the history of Python. We have discussed what is Python first. That is a general purpose, simple, platform independent, highly interpreted and high level programming language. After that, what kind of applications one can develop by using Python. We discussed that, right? So we can go ahead with gaming applications, artificial intelligence, machine learning, web scraping, data visualization, business applications, and lot many. After that, we started discussing about the Python. What is the history of Python? It was conceived in year 1980 and brought into the action in 1989. Officially released in the industry in 1991, that is February 20. Father of Python is Guido van Rossum. It was developed at Centrum Wiskunde Informatica Institute in Netherlands. Now, it is managed and maintained by a non-commercial organization, that is Python Software Foundation. And officially website from which we can freely download the Python is www.python.org. Right? Now, after that, we discussed about the versions of Python MNCs are using. We discussed about the versions of Python. Then in which one was the major version and rest is the minor version. Ma'am, if possible, kindly explain what is the difference between functional programming and OOP. I'll tell you, students. Let me go with a recap of this. Okay. After that, I have told you that what is the difference between the major and the minor version. Right now, which function is going, which version is using 3.11. 3.11. So in which 3 is the major version and 0.11 is what is the minor version. Let's go ahead. Now let's go ahead. So that is what I have told you. You can freely download the Python from www.python.org. I wanted to show you something, students. I wanted to show you something. While downloading Python, what we need to do is, just a second. Officially website is www.python.org. Now, when we go ahead with this, we need to go through the downloads, right? I've told you yesterday also. 3.11. Students who were not there. Now, as it is already installed in my system, you need to click on all this: documentation, pip, ideally Python test suite, py launcher, then next. In this, you need to click on associate files with Python, requires the py launcher, and create shortcuts from installed applications. right? After that, you need to click on install. Then it will ask, do you want to allow this app to make changes in your device? Then you need to click yes. Then you need to click yes. Once you click it, it will start installing. It will start installing. Right? Such type of screen will come in front of you. All the versions of Python programs are all the versions, whether it is outdated, they are still available in this on this website. They are still available on this website. Okay, you need to do like this. Let me cancel this, although it's already installed in my desktop. Let me cancel this. Now, let me close this. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead with our PPT. Now, then we need to go ahead with features of Python. We started discussing about the features of Python, in which we have learned about the simple, but before that, what are the features? They are the facilities provided by the language developers in the language. Okay. So, which are those facilities which are available for developing real-time applications, right? The features are simple, freeware and open source, platform independent language, dynamically typed language, interpreted, high-level programming language. So, we have discussed till simple, freeware and open source, platform independent and dynamically typed language. Now, what do we understand by simple? First of all, before proceeding, Python is inspired from the 4 different programming languages, that is C, C++, Modulo 3, and Perl. Okay. Now, what do we understand by simple? Simple means, why it is simple? Because of its rich set of APIs. APIs means collection of modules. APIs means collection of modules. Now, factor 2 is, it has a garbage collector. It has a garbage collector that removes the unused memory space and improves the performance of Python-based applications. Third factor is its user-friendly syntaxes. Syntaxes are the formulas, okay, so that the Python programmer can develop error-free programs. Second, in the platform independent language. Why it is platform independent language? Because data types memories remains same for all the OSs. In effective platform independent language, all type of values will stored in the form of objects. So whatever we write in Python, whatever values we'll provide, they are stored in the form of objects, as in Java also. Okay, but in Java, it is size restricted. But if you talk about Python, it contains unlimited size. Okay. Now, next is freeware and open source. Why it is freeware? It can be downloaded freely from the official website. And open source, the standard name of Python is CPython, right? So, such type of customized versions of Python are called the distribution of Python. See, we have different JPython used for running Java-based applications, IronPython, that is for C#.NET, MicroPython for microcontrollers, Ruby for Ruby-based applications, and Anaconda to run Hadoop applications. Hadoop means big data applications. Now, we talked about the dynamically typed. As I've told you, we have 2 types of programming language. One is static type and one is dynamically typed. Now, what is the difference between static typed and why the Python is dynamically typed programming language? Static type means in which we need to define a variable with data type, otherwise we'll get the compile error. Like we were writing, example is given here as int ABC. It's a variable. Declaration is mandatory in this. Why? It is an integer type, A, B, C. See, A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20, and C is equal to A, B, C. But if we talk about Python, what happens is, in this, programmer need not to specify the data. If I write A is equal to 10, B is equal to 1.2, I have shown you also practically, it will give automatically, it automatically give response that this is a class int, this is a class float, and this is a class float again. So, as I've told you, all the values are stored in the form of objects. Now, let's proceed with the today's session. Let's proceed with the today's session. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead with the day 2. With the day 2. Am I clear till here, students? Am I clear till here? All the students need to respond. Very good. Very good. Now let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead with the rest of the features. Let's go ahead with the rest of the features. Good evening, dear. Very good evening to you. Let's proceed with the rest of the features. Did I miss anything? No, no, dear. Right now, we were just discussing what we discussed yesterday. No problems? No problems. We were just going through what we discussed yesterday. So I'm going to start day 2 topic from now. Now, features of Python will be continued. This is the interpreted language, interpreted programming. My voice is not audible. Am I audible to everyone? Students, am I audible to everyone? Okay. Yes, some of the students are saying I'm not audible. Are you muted? No, I'm not. In case you am not audible, you need to log in again. You need to re-log in. See, I'm audible to all of the students. If I'm not audible to you, please re-log in again. Okay. Okay. Now we are discussing about the interpreted programming language. What do we understand by interpreted programming language? Students, when we develop any Python program, we need to save the file with an extension that is .py. So how to save the program? We need to save the program with .py extension. So whenever we develop any Python program, we must give some file name with an extension .py. So whenever we execute Python program, two process takes place internally. Two process takes place internally. Please take care of that. One is the compilation process and the other one is the execution process. Now, what is the difference between compilation process and execution process? What do we understand by compilation process? See, in compilation process, the Python source code submitted to the Python compiler. In this, the Python source code submits to the Python compiler. It reads the source code, check for the errors by verifying syntaxes. If no errors found, then Python compilers convert it into the intermediate code, that is bytecode, with an extension that is .pyc. Student, this is a internal process. So what happens is, it saves. What happens is, if there is no error, then Python compiler converts it into the intermediate code, that is bytecode, which is understandable by the machine only, with an extension that is .pyc. If error is there, then in source code, then error displayed on the console. Let me show you. See, what happens is, in this, the source code, we are saving the file. Let me show you. We are saving the file. Yes, definitely, 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 student. Interpreted programming, we need to save the file. It means we need to save all the files. So whatever we have, we need to save this file, that is with extension .pyc. That is .py. One student has raised the hand. Okay, let me check. Yes, Mark, please unmute yourself. Mark, please unmute yourself if you want to ask anything. Mark, am I audible? I think he has raised the hand by mistake. Okay, no problems. No problems. Now, as I've told you, we need to save the file with an extension file name .py. So whenever we execute Python program, two processes takes place internally. One is the compilation process and other one is execution process. Now, what is the compilation process? What do we understand by compilation process? In compilation process, source code, what does the source code do? It reads the source code, check for the errors. Okay, it reads the source code and check for the error. If there is no error, then what happens is the Python compiler converts it into the intermediate code that is called bytecode. I'm sorry. What does it do? What does it do? It converts it into the intermediate code that is bytecode with a extension .pyc. Student, this is an internal process, so don't get confused. Don't get confused. I'll tell you, don't you worry. But if the error found in the source code, then that error will be displayed on the console. Now, what is the execution process? What is the execution process? The PVM reads the Python code, intermediate code, that is bytecode, line by line. And then in the execution, it converts it into the machine understandable code, that is binary code. Okay, reads by the OS. And finally, gives the result. What is PVM, students? What is PVM? Tell me. See, it's mentioned Python virtual machine. Python virtual machine. Okay. See, whatever you ask, I have an answer for that. Whatever you ask, I have an answer for that. So in Python program, execution, compilation process and execution process is taking place line by line conversion, and it is one of the interpretation based programming language. So definition of PVM is it is one of the program in Python software whose role is to read line by line. What does the PVM does? PVM do? It reads the code line by line and convert into the machine understandable code that is a binary code. Let me show you with the help of diagram. See, now what is the execution process? We have saved the file with the .py extension. I have saved the file with the .py extension, that is sum.py. Now, what is the internal process? Python compiler, what does it do? It reads it line by line and convert it into the intermediate code that is sum.pyc, that is bytecode. Student, this is an internal process, so don't get confused. Don't get confused. After that, what does the PVM do? Execution. phase will take place. Here the compilation process will take place, and here the execution phase will take place. The PVM reads it line by line. Okay, it reads line by line, and the byte code converted into the machine understandable language, that is binary code, and read the OS and processor and gives results in the form of user-friendly messages. In the form of user-friendly messaging. Am I clear till here? Am I clear? So what I am not understanding the byte code. I am not understanding the binary code. So it will give the results in the form of user-friendly messages. Okay, the result will be user-friendly. Is this clear to everyone? Is this clear to everyone, students? Please confirm. Please confirm in the chat box. Good. Rest of the students, are the students sleeping in the class? Good. Good. Now let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Now what happens is after this, what happens, Vishnu? What happens, Vishnu? Are you confused? Are you confused? No problems. I'll make you understand one more time. I'll make you understand one more time. Don't you worry about it. We all know that we save the file with the .py extension. So whenever the execution takes place, two processes takes place. One is the compilation and the other one is the execution process. In compilation process, what happens is Python code submit to the Python source code submit to the Python compiler. We submit it to the Python compiler. So what does the Python compiler do? It reads the source code and checks for the error, and by verifying the syntaxes. Now, what are the syntaxes? Syntaxes are the formulas, right? It checks for the syntaxes. If there is no error, then Python compiler converts it into the byte code, intermediate code, that is a byte code, with an extension .pyc, which is an internal process, And if the error is there, it displays the error on the console. After the compilation process, the execution process takes place. Now the PVM, what does the PVM do? Now here the PVM comes and reads the byte code and convert it into the machine understandable language. That is binary code read by the OS and processor. And finally, it gives the result. Now, what is PVM? What is PVM? It is Python virtual machine. So in Python programming execution, compilation and execution process takes place line by line conversion, and it is one of the interpretation based programming language. Right. Now, PVM is one of the program in software. What is it? It reads the code line by line and convert it into the understandable language. That is Python will compile and output going to convert it into the extension. Then the execution process will take place. Okay, after that, it will give the result. After that, it will give the result. After that, it will give the result. Let me show you. That is what I was showing you with the help of diagram. That is what I was showing you. See, this is the execution environment in which we have saved the file with the .py extension, right? This is a source code. Now, the Python compilers come, the compilation process takes place. It converts it, this is the internal process, into the sum.pyc intermediate code, that is sum.pyc, that is a byte code. After this, once it is converted into the bytecode. No error is there. Then the PVM comes. Then the role of PVM takes place. PVM comes for the execution phase. Okay. What does it do? It reads the bytecode line by line, converts it into the machine understandable language, that is binary code. Okay. And read, which is read by OS and processor, and gives the result in the form of user-friendly message. User-friendly means it is understandable by us, which is understandable by us. Now, is this clear to you guys? Now, is this clear to you guys, students? Please confirm. If you ask the question, you need to answer also. Good. Good. Now, let's go ahead. Let's proceed further. Good. Now, after this, the second is high-level programming language. Now, what do we understand by high-level programming language? Generally, we have two types of programming language. One is low-level programming language, and the second is high-level programming language. Now, what do we understand by low-level programming language? Low-level programming language represents the data in the lower level data. It gives the result in binary, octal, hexadecimal, which is not understandable by the programmers and the end users. So what do we understand? Low-level programming language gives the result in binary, octal, hexadecimal, which is not understandable by the programmers and end users. Like, example is there, A is equal to O0B. Now, do you understand? Do you understand this? No. If we write 0023, what is that? That is octal. Then 0x FAC. This is hexadecimal. Is this understandable by end users? Are you people understanding this? No. No. Then, but this is a high-level programming language. This is a high-level programming language. So, for that, what will it do? In this, even we represent the data in the lower level data, even if we write in the lower level, that is in a binary format, either in octal format, either in hexadecimal. What does the high-level programming language do? It converts it into the decimal number system, which we are using. Decimal number system is what? Is the simple 0 to 9, which we are using, right? Right? Which is understandable by the programmer. 0, 1 is binary. Decimal number system, if we talk about, it is a normal number system, which everyone understands, 0 to 9. Very good. Very good. Okay, which is understandable by programmers and the end users. And Python is one of the high-level programming language. High-level programming language. Now, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Now, what is robust? It is robust. It is a strong language. Why it is called strong? Because of its exception handling. Because of its exception handling. Now, what do we understand by exception handling? Exception means runtime error of the program are called exceptions. Okay, runtime errors of the program are called exceptions. Exceptions by default generates the technical error messages. It generates the technical error messages. And if we talk about the exception handling, means it converts the technical error messages into the user-friendly error messages, which is called the exception handling. It is a robust language because of its exception handling. Why? Because it converts the technical error messages, which is not understandable by any of the user. But exception handling means it changes into user-friendly messages. Like whenever we go to the ATM, we try to enter the PIN. If we enter the wrong PIN, internally, the error takes place, right? And we get the user-friendly error message, that is invalid PIN. That is invalid pin, which is understandable by the end user. Okay, so that is called the exception handling. So if the Python program uses exception handling, the Python program is robust. Is this clear, students? Am I clear till here? Good. Now let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Extensible. Now what do we understand by extensible? Extensible means Python programming giving its programming facilities to the other languages also, like C++, which means Python code can also be written in the other languages like C++. So that is why it is extensible. That is why it is extensible programming language. Now, let's talk about embedded. Embedded. See, when we talk about embedded, Python programming can call other languages coding segment for fastest execution. What does it do? It can call the other languages coding segments also for fastest execution. Example, Python code can call C programming code also. Next, extensive support for third-party APIs. I've told you yesterday, I've told you what are APIs. Now, as Python libraries or APIs can do many tasks and operations and unable to perform, but it is unable to perform complex operations. And to solve such complex operations quickly and easily, it uses the third-party APIs. It uses the third-party APIs, which are like NumPy, Pandas. NumPy is what? It is used for numerical calculation. Pandas, that is an analysis tool. Matplotlib, that is a data visualization. SkyPy and Skykit. So many of the operations which it is unable to perform, so it uses the third-party APIs. Let's go ahead. Now we'll discuss about the identifiers and literals in Python. Students, we have done with the features of Python. Are you clear till here? Are you clear till here? Any questions, please tell me. Good. Good. Now we'll talk about the identifiers and literals in Python. Now, what do we understand by identifiers? Ma'am, what is the 8th and 9th feature in short? I've told you, dear. I've told you, don't tell me that you have not understand. Extensible and embedded. Right? Now let's go ahead. Identifiers. Identifiers and literals in Python. Identifiers and literals in Python. Don't you worry, students, you'll get the recordings also. You'll get the recordings also. Okay. Now, when we talk about the identifiers and literals in Python, what does that mean? What does that mean? Literals in Python are what? They are nothing but values passing to the Python program. So literals are the values passing to the Python program. Recordings and notes. Recordings will be everyday recording you're getting on C. And if you want, as you told me that you want to get the PDF, what the notes, you need to pay the fee for that. Notes will be shared with the paid candidates only. Recordings, first 5 days recordings you will get. Rest you'll get once you'll pay the fee. Okay? Manjunath, is this okay? Let's go ahead. Now, literals in Python. Literals are nothing but values passing to the Python program. So programmatically, when we write any Python program, we must enter inputs, and such inputs are called the literals or values. So all the values are called literals. We have 5 types of literals. We have 5 types of literals. One's an integer, floating point literal, str literal, boolean, and collection literal. I tell you each and everything. I'll tell you about all the literals. Let's go ahead. So all the values are called the literals, and we have 5 types of literals. Now, let's go ahead with identifiers or variables in Python. I'll tell you, Manjunath, don't get excited. This is just a second day. I'll tell you about the data type. I'll tell you about the data types also. Now, if what are identifiers or variables? Whenever we enter any input or literal, they are stored in the main memory by allocating sufficient amount memory space with the help of data types. So what does it do? It stores in the main memory by allocating sufficient amount of memory space with the help of data types. So please now you are getting your answer. To process the data type which is stored in the main memory as a programmer, we must do some distinct names. We should give some distinct names, and these names makes us to identify the values stored in memory space. Hence, names are called the identifiers. Now, what are identifiers? Is this clear to you? Whenever we give some name to identify the values stored in the memory space, that is called the identifier. Now, value of identifiers are changing or verifying during program execution. During the program execution, hence identifiers are also called the variables. Let me show you. Let me show you. Let me show you what is identifier. Let me show you. See, just a second. Now let me show you. See, I'm saving some programs. See, approach 1, big X example 1.py, approach 3, digits example.py. So what are these? What are these? What are these? These are the identifiers. These are the identifiers. Okay. See, whatever name we are giving, that is an identifier which is helping us to identify the file. Is this clear, student? Good. Let's go ahead. Now, all types of inputs or literals must be stored in the form of variable. So whenever we make any input, it is stored in the form of variables, and all types of variables are called objects. So I've told you yesterday also that whatever values we'll store, they are stored in the form of objects. So all type of inputs or literals which we are making are stored in the form of variables, and all variables are called objects. Let's go ahead. Now, definition of variable. Variable is an identifier whose value can be changed during the execution of the program. It is an identifier whose values can be changed during the execution of the program. Right? Now, let's go ahead. Rules for using identifiers or variables in Python program. But for that, we need to follow some rules. We need to follow some rules. Now, what are those rules? We must follow the following rules. Now, what are those rules? Variable name is a combination of alphabet, digits, and a special symbol underscore only. The variable name is a combination of alphabets, digits, and a special symbol underscore only. The first letter of variable name must start with an alphabet or underscore. Okay. See, it's given here. It's given here. It should be what? It should be either alphabet or underscore. Let me show you with the help of example. Let me show you with the help of example. See, let's go ahead. Just a second, student. Just a second. Just a second. I'm facing some problems. I'm facing some issues, students. I'm facing some issues right now. I need to download it again. I need to download it again. I'll download it and will show you tomorrow. Okay, don't you worry about it. I'll download it and show you again tomorrow. Clear? So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Let me try it one more time. Yes, I can, but I wanted to show you. I know. I know. Just a second. Let me go ahead. I'm facing some issues. Some issues are no problem, students. I'll make you understand it tomorrow. Don't you worry about it. I'll show you. I'll show you one. Don't you worry about it. Okay. Right now, let me do it like that only. So whenever we want to show it, whenever we want to say or do something, what I need to do is I need to write, if I write one ABC, we need to use the what we need to use the alphabet or the underscore. If we'll use any special symbol except underscore, that will be invalid. See, like 1 ABC is equal to 23. I'm writing like this. One is numeric form, and that will be invalid. But if I use the alphabet, that is SAL 1, 2, 3 is equal to 45, that will be acceptable. If I write underscore sal is equal to 4.5, that is also acceptable. But in case I want to use any other special symbol, that is dollar or anything, that will be invalid. Okay, then underscore 1, 2, 3, 5.6, that is also acceptable. So we can use after underscore, we can use the alphabet also, we can use the numeric also. Okay, is this clear, students? Now, no special symbols are allowed within variable name except underscore. Now, if we talk about hash, students, please, you need to remember this, that hash is used that hash is used for commenting only. Hash is used for commenting only. Okay. I know, dear, I can do this, but don't you worry. You want me to go from here? Don't you worry. I'll explain it tomorrow again. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. I'll explain it again tomorrow. Don't you worry about it. Tomorrow, when we'll go ahead with the recap, I'll definitely explain you. Okay. So if we talk about hash, hash is used for commenting. Today also, students, don't you worry. Today also we did the recap. Tomorrow also, whenever we'll start with the session, we'll go to the. So only underscore is allowed. Yes, only the special character underscore is allowed. And if we use hash, it is used for commenting. Special symbol underscore is allowed, and we need to start it with the alphabet. If we'll try to start with the number also, we won't be able to. Now, sal is equal to 45. This is valid. Employee sal, this is invalid. Why? Why it is invalid? Because we need not to give this space. Now, if we'll talk about sal hash employee is equal to 56, why it is valid? Because it is commenting. Salary of employee is equal to 56. But because hash employee will be printed, this is for commenting. Whenever we'll enter it, we'll get 45. Why? Because it will accept salary is equal to 45. If we write sal hash sal, then employee is equal to 56, that is invalid. So any other symbol except underscore is not acceptable. Now, no keywords to be used as variable name. Keywords are reserved words. What are keywords? Else and if. Else and if. So if we'll try to use it directly, these are the keywords in the program. Whenever we'll try to use it, it will not acceptable. Like if I write else is equal to 45, this is invalid. Why? Because else is a keyword. If I write else one, that is acceptable. If I write if, that is also acceptable. But if I write underscore if, that will be acceptable. So else and if we write one by only else and only if, that is not acceptable. Okay. So if I write int is equal to 67, that is valid because all the class names are not the keywords. See, all the variable names are case sensitive. So we can write like this, age is equal to 19, age is equal to 20. So these are case sensitive. We can write like this also. So if I write, how many keywords are there? I'll tell you, students, I'll tell you, please. Print age, we'll get the answer like this. We'll get the answer like this. So it is always recommended to use the user-friendly variables name. So if I'll use total salary of an employee, if I'll write like this, that is also acceptable, but it is not recommended. So what we need to do is we can write like this, total underscore sal underscore employee is equal to 45. That is acceptable also and recommended also. So next session will be of data science in Python. Do you have any questions, students? Please raise your hands. And if you want to ask anything, please raise your hand and tell me. Students, do you have any questions? Yes. Okay. Rajesh. Yes, Rajesh, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. This variable starts from A is not acceptable, no?
No, it is acceptable. Alphabet, see, whether it is alphabet or whether it is underscore. It is acceptable, but with the digit, it is not acceptable.
But last line is with A in that slide, last but one slide. Before this?
This one?
No, before this.
This age?
No, before this. This is the example.
Yes.
One more. Please.
Yes.
Because of variable A is not defined earlier.
A hash sal. Yes, it is
Yeah.
invalid. Why? Because it is not defined earlier. We'll get the name error.
Okay.
See, in this, we have not defined A. Have we defined?
No.
It's not defined. That is why we'll get the error.
Okay. Okay. And I got it. Okay.
You got it? No problem.
Okay.
I'll
Thank
do
you.
it practically tomorrow. I'll do it
Okay.
practically. That will be helpful for you guys.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Any other student? Identifier and variables are the same. See, I've told you what is identifier and variable. You'll get the recording. Just go through it once. You'll come to know about it. Okay? You'll get the recording. And rest, once we'll go tomorrow, we'll discuss, we'll take the recap. You'll come to know about it. Okay, I'll do it practically tomorrow so that you'll understand it in a better way. It is very interactive session. No, I'm going to continue. Thank you, students. That's nice. If you want to continue, that's good. Any other questions? Ma'am, where will we get the recordings? You have our students, do you have our WhatsApp group? Are you there in my WhatsApp group? Yes, you need to download. We provide it on the YouTube also. We provide it on the YouTube also. If you are in the WhatsApp group, I'll give you I'm going to give you the WhatsApp group. Don't you worry about it. Let me type it for you. Let me tell you the WhatsApp group. You need to join. See, this is the WhatsApp group. Let me paste this in the chat box. Please join this. Please join this WhatsApp group. Is this your WhatsApp group? See, this is you'll get the session updates on this. This is our Logic Labs WhatsApp group. Okay. You'll get the recordings on that. Will you give idea about creation of Python script develop on coming classes? Yes, I will. Don't you worry. And then, thank you. I joined already, I guess. I joined. Okay, good. If you have joined, then it's good. Any other questions, students? And then what do you want to ask? What do you want to ask? Please tell me what do you want, any link. Have you got the link? I provided the link now. Or you can do one thing. You can contact our support team also. They will also help you with this. We'll ask tomorrow's session. Yes, got it. Okay, good. Okay, students. Facing some issues. Okay. Can we leave the meeting in case if any public holiday? Can we leave the meet if we have no doubts? Yes, you can. Ma'am, is this a course for beginners to advanced level? Yes, this is a course from beginners to advanced level. And in case of any holiday, no, there is no such holiday we have. We will provide you the holiday on Saturdays and Sundays only, on the weekends. On the weekends. And in case if the trainer is not there, then you'll continue with the next session. Can we have hope? Just a second. Just a second. Let me open the chat once again. How does it takes to finish the entire course? It's a 50 days course, but we'll try to cover it in 40 days. Are you covering scripting part? Are you covering me? So many questions are there. I'm facing some issues. Yes, we will cover each and everything. Don't you worry about it. Yes, you can. Can we leave now? Yes, you can. Who does not want to? Right now, the session has ended, and whosoever wants to leave can leave it. I am a DevOps engineer. Thanks for the session, ma'am. Okay. Okay. Can we leave now? Are you covering certain portion as well? Great. How long does it take to finish the course? Ma'am, I have a doubt. Yes, tell me. Manjuna, tell me, what is your doubt? One student has raised the hand also. Anybody wants to ask the question? I'm storage administrator. So is it possible to do daily operation? I'm storage administrator. So it is possible to do. Yes, it is. It is possible. And this student has a doubt. I don't know what is student. Okay. Yes, Balamurgam. Tell me, please unmute yourself.
Hi, ma'am. Thank you so much. Actually, I'm just part of storage team. Actually, when I'm doing the day-to-day operations, is it possible because we have a Python module is there, but we don't know. I mean, I don't know how to do the integration with how to develop the script to do the automations like provisioning port and everything. But we have a model, but that's what I'm just stuck on this part actually. So these sessions, whether it would be helpful for me to understand how to do this from for developing the script actually.
Yes, definitely. You'll come to know, Master. That will be helpful. That is why we are running this course here.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't you worry about it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
No problem. Any other students wants to ask any question? Are you working as a corporate employee or as a trainer? Manjunath, I'm not getting time from my trainings also. I'm very much busy with my trainings. I've worked as a corporate employee, but after that, I have an interest in training. That is why I am working as a trainer. Anything else you wanted to know? Anything else? And one student has the question. One student wanted to ask the question. Manjunath, you wanted to ask me some question? You are a DevOps engineer. Fine. No questions now? Manjunath, okay. Yes, Manjunath, please unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hello, yeah. Tell me, Manjunath. Did you think?
Hi, ma'am. Good evening. Yeah, it was really a great session. And
Good, thank you.
thank you for the session, ma'am. Yeah, because I'm a DevOps engineer, so I'm interested in like the Python scripting as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you going to like touch with the scripting language as well, ma'am, in this course?
Yes, we'll tell you each and everything. We'll teach you the Python scripting also.
Yeah, because yeah, someone mentioned already, right? It's going to help me to automate some modules and automate some other resources as well while deploying some resources.
Yes, don't you worry about it. We'll definitely go ahead with the scripting.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
No problems. Any other question?
Not for now, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other student wanted to ask anything? As there is no other question, is there? So let me wind up the session. Let me wind up the session. Let me wind up the session. Thank you. You can tell your friends also. You can tell your family and friends also to join this session. Okay. So till then, students, good night and keep practicing. Keep practicing and have a nice day. Bye. Take care.